Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and yes, I am so excited. I am part of the design team, or the inspiration team, like I like to say, for Paper Roses, and they sent me some beautiful projects to work with. And they even make their own card bases for USA and also European size, and card fronts, which I found very interesting. The two dies that I'm going to be focusing on today is the Dolphin Dance die and also the Hello Chunky Layered die. So I'm using one of their card fronts, and their card fronts are cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm adding some tumbled glass, broken china, and prize ribbon. I am not being neat about this. I don't want a perfect blend. I am looking for it to be sloppy and blotchy. How many more words can we rhyme with? To create a mottled look in the back. I'm also not worried about the center. I'm really focusing around the outside because the die that I'll use is going to cut out the center, and we're going to use some beautiful iridescent mirror cardstock. So you can see it's not perfectly blended. It's not, it's very muddled and broken up. To clean my brushes, I do just rub them on a dry piece of paper towel. I'm coming in with my Distress sprayer, and I've had this for years. I think it's time for a new one. It's coming out straight, but that's okay. And I'm getting these splatters. Now, I don't usually like to come in with a heat gun. I really like them to dry on their own. The way that the oxides mix and oxidize when water hits them, I think is just great. And I think it was just going to add to the effect of what I was looking for when it came to this die. I am using my heat tool though, just so that I can show you that process. I love the hard lines that this gets, and no splatters. So I'm placing the largest. This die set comes with 3 dies, 2 frames, and a dolphin. And I love the frames because there's these bubbles that are around it and then these lines that are cut out. It just adds a lot of nice texture when you die cut. Now, my screen will shake a little bit because I am going to try to show you how I die cut when I use my Platinum 6. I do put a card stock shim underneath my one plate, so that I don't always have to put in a metal shim if it's necessary. That kind of really does take care of that for me. But for very intricate, I still do use my metal shim. So you'll just see the camera bounce just a little bit. I'm coming in with a pokey tool just to clean out all of those beautiful details that they have. And it just really adds a lot to that die and to that framed image. Now, you can make a shaker card. This would be great for a shaker card. You can do so many things. I'm actually going to use this as a frame. It's almost like we're going to create this little tiny pond underneath that. I'm using my double-sided foam squares so that I can prop that. I have a panel here of the iridescent mirrored cardstock that's cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So not only am I going to get that background within the opening, but I'm also going to get a small frame around the outside. So kind of like that twofer. I'm going to put this on my standard A2 size card base, and that card base is also by Paper Roses. It's a nice thick cardstock for the card bases. They are side folding when you are making a portrait card. I'm using the centerpiece, again, trying not to waste this year, you know, really digging into the scraps and everything else. So I'm going to use the Hello die has a cloud. I call it a cloud. I forget what others call it. I call it a cloud. So I'm going to use that for the background, and I wanted to really get into the center so that it would be really light for when I put it on the background. I die cut the Hello 3 times, and I love the font on this. I like the way that it looks like it's bouncing. It's kind of a nice size block form. It's not too big and it's not too small, so it's kind of that middle ground there. I'm going to place that on top of my cloud, and I die cut the dolphin 3 times as well, and I am going to layer those as well. I did choose a gray cardstock. I didn't want to go with a black cardstock. So I went with a deep charcoal gray, and it is by Spellbinders. And then I'm going to come in with my Desiree K white pigment ink, and I'm going to come in with a foam applicator, and I'm just going to go over the top just to give a highlight to the Dolphin. Now, you could use a white gel pen, you could use an acrylic pen. If you have white acrylic paint and a fine brush, you can use that as well too. But I thought the softness of the applicator with the white pigment ink was just enough. I'm going to take the sentiment, and I want that to go in the bottom right, and I'm going to place the Dolphin first. That was my first struggle. I want her to come up from underneath, and what was great is the tail of the Dolphin, and just the way that I said it, just nestles perfectly over the hello sentiment. So I thought that was a great match. We don't need to add any sequins or pearls, but we're going to, because we can't have enough. I mean, that background with the mirror just looks like water. So I am going to add some light blue pearls by Trinity, and I'm going to be adding some Stargazer gems by Pink Fresh. So they almost look black, but when you turn the gem, it's got this blue hue that goes onto that as well. Those I'm putting inside the water, and I put the pearls around the outside. So just to give a contrast. I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a while. I'm going to use my glossy accents, and I'm going to go over the sentiment just to give that a little bit of shine as well, to just make that stand out. And now you'd let that dry for 24 hours. I like to let it dry good and long before I put anything on top of it. So I hope you enjoyed today's project featuring paper roses and the Dolphin Dance die, their card fronts and card bases, and the Hello Chunky layer die. As always, everything will be linked down below if you just want to check that out. Take care, enjoy. Always remember, though, what's most important, especially for 2022, even more so. Always be creative. Till next time, guys. Take care.